Hey guys, so check it out. Check out what I got in the mail. Finally, I got my UPS. So I finally got my UPS that I have intentions to use as a inverter for my DIY power wall here. And later maybe with solar, who knows? Who knows where this is gonna go. But anyways, I got the unit. I was able to buy one on eBay, this one for $100. And so it's a smart UPS 2200 XL unit, and so that's rated just under 2000 watts, 1980 I think. Of course, the problem is with these units is that they're designed to only run for about 20 minutes, or for as long as that tiny little lead acid battery that they have stored in them will last, which is usually about 20 minutes at full, at full load. And so this essentially, even though it's about 2000 watts, it can't really safely run at 2000 watts. The wires are undersized. The cooling is probably not sufficient enough. And so in order to be able to run that, then there's some upgrades that have to be done. Right now, I just got it. I just cleaned it up and I just brought it in here. Does it work? I don't know. Let's figure out. In order to do that, we're gonna have to plug in a battery and then plug this thing in. And it didn't come with a faceplate, so I don't know what any of these little lights are going to be. I don't know if it runs. The thing on eBay said it run, but it was $100. If it doesn't run, I guess it's not gonna be the end of the world. But let's go through it. I'll give you a brief explanation as to how this thing works, and then we'll plug it into a battery and then see if it runs. All right, let's take a look at this unit. It actually is quite simple. It's big, but really when you look at it, the only thing that makes this unit so big and heavy are these two transformers. It's got a 20 amp plug. This is the input, right? What it usually does, it goes and it just filters out and cleans out this power that is coming in here, the signal, and then it just pumps it right out through these cables, right back out to these plugs. This is what it does 99% of the time. Now, if this is interrupted, if all of a sudden the power from this cable quits, then there is a relay in here that turns on. And then when that happens, then there's a 48 volt battery that is usually stored here. This unit did not have it. That's why I bought it for $100. And this has what I assume is two 24 batteries. They're connected in series. Here's the negative. Here's the positive. They're both connected into two like Anderson's type connectors. And then in between that, there's a fuse connecting the two together. So basically what happens is you have 48 volts coming into these cables here, connecting into these aluminum plates. There's 4 plates here. This is what it's known as an H-bridge configuration. An H-bridge is a configuration where you have 4 transistors configured in a way that looks like an H, and when you turn 2 of the transistors, then the energy flows one way, but when you turn those off and turn the opposite transistors, then the energy flows the opposite way. And that is exactly what happens here. These transformers here are plugged into the output of these 4 transistors. And so what happens is when this is on, it makes the direct current that is coming into here into an alternating current at 60 hertz is rotating back and forth. And so it creates AC 50 hertz 48 volts into this transformer, right? Oscillating back and forth 60 times per second. These transformers, then what it does, it boosts up the 48 volts into 110. Why they have so many 4 cables coming out of here. I don't quite understand yet. This unit, I believe, is actually a pure sine wave unit, and the way it does that is that it doesn't actually just turn on the transistors back and forth 50 times per second at 50 hertz, but it does at a much higher frequency up into the kilohertz, and it uses pole width modulation to actually form a sine wave, which is the opposite of a square wave. And so this is actually a good unit that will run most of pretty much anything that you can plug in here will run off this. This is I've seen some people test the output of these units, and it's actually cleaner than what they are running off of the mains. So the cool thing about this unit is, of course, that it also charges the batteries. And so it does that by using the same H-bridge. It'll run 120 volts on the secondary winding here, which becomes a primary, and then it'll create 28 volts AC, but then using the H-bridge will actually rectify that that AC power into DC, and then it'll actually charge the batteries. Will it be able to successfully charge my lithium batteries using this? This is actually made for lead acid batteries. That is yet still to be determined. I don't see reason why it wouldn't, but we will have to test it out. And so that's what we're gonna do today. I'm gonna start by testing it and see if it works. All right, I'm about to power this guy for the first time. Not Wayne. What I did was I made this little rig here that puts 15 cells in series. Does it have to be this complicated? Probably not, but I did wanted to check each individual cell. The alarm is going because they're all charged with the cheap eBay chargers, and they get charged to 4.3 volts. So these guys are saying that they're overcharged, basically. That's what the little alarm says. This setup has very small wiring, so I'm not gonna be pulling a lot of load through here. Maybe I'll plug something small to see if it actually makes 110 volts. We'll get to see what kind of load it'll see in here. So let's do it. Here it goes, nothing. Woo! It's on. The fans are on. So none of the lights turn on. There's no alarm, which it's kind of weird because usually you should have an alarm. All right, it's really late. It's nighttime already, and I spent all day trying to get this thing to run. I think I just bought a bad unit, which is unfortunate because the guy that sold it to me said that it was working. Once again, I only paid $100 for it, so I'm not totally surprised that it doesn't work. But I don't know if I learned anything from this. This might just be a total failure. It had a few issues that I kind of worked through, but none of them actually got this thing working. Let's see. Total failure, or did I actually learn something? I think I actually learned something. Very, very simple devices. Now that I understand how these things work, it's totally like, I could probably get two of these, fit them in a box about that size, of the same size as the battery, and have almost about 4,000, I don't know, 3,000 watts. These things are available. You can go to eBay. I'll put a little link here. There's all kinds of them, in all kinds of shapes. There's newer ones with like nice displays and all this other stuff. This one's an older one. That's why it was about $100, and it didn't work. So maybe that's why. Anyways, I'm gonna email the guy. I don't know what's gonna come out of it. He seems to be a guy that sells a lot of stuff. They usually don't like getting negative feedback. He stated that if it's a dead on arrival, then, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. What did I learn? Okay, here's one thing that I learned. It doesn't do any of the things that it's supposed to do, but the one thing that it did do is when I connected it, it does put out a DC voltage into the battery. And the interesting thing is that it was 55 volts, which if you divide 55 volts into 15 cells, which is how my batteries are wired there, then it puts out each cell at around 3.6 volts, which is too low. Which means that it might not be high enough voltage to actually charge that battery. At least not all the way through, you know. It'll charge at 55 volts when the cells are 3.6, which is, you know, you're still leaving a lot of voltage there. So I might have to rewire the pack down to 13 cells, or, you know, down to, yeah, 13 cells. What's this? So 14. 3.92. So not even 4. So like 14's too low. 13 is too high. It's like 4.23 or something. Maybe 14 cells, and it'll charge all the way to 4 volts each cell, to 4 volts. Yeah, you're almost up there on the top. You're not leaving too much. Again, if you want your cells to last a long time, you undercharge them to 4 volts. You under discharge them to, you know, 3 volts or whatever, or 3.5 or 3.2 or whatever it is. I don't know where this thing actually quits. It would be an actual thing. Again, the 55 volt might not be indicative of a good unit. This might be just what this is doing, but because it's a bad unit, maybe I shouldn't put too much attention to it until I get a working unit. But anyways, I guess this is a failure. I tried to do the thing. This is my first attempt. I guess it's gonna go down as a failure. We will get one of these things working. We will put one of these things out in the wall, and then I'm gonna start talking about how I'm gonna use it. There's a bunch of ways that you can use this device. And once we do that, then we actually start testing some of those uses to see if it's feasible, to see if it actually makes sense, to see if it actually does what I'm intending to do. So, see you guys next time. Hopefully, next video will be more exciting, other than just having something that doesn't work. Alright guys, today we're gonna meet Patrick. So we're here with Patrick.
Hello.
Friend. So first time driving electric, and not first time driving a bus, right?
First time driving a bus.
Only